going back to Space Invaders, 1977, they actually did a lot of like scientific tests and research on this, and what they did is that those 4 notes that happened during Space Invaders, dun, 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 they started it at a person's heart rate. So when the composer, if you can call it a composer, there was 4 notes, but when the guy did the sound for that, he started it at a person's heart rate. Now, if you remember, in Space Invaders, as they got closer and closer to you, the sound would get quicker and quicker. Dun, 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 dun. They did a bunch of research and testing, and people's heart rate would actually follow the rhythm of the sound. So the audio was cueing people's, heart rate, and it was getting quicker and quicker. That's how important audio is to an interactive experience. When you're interacting with somebody, it's literally having physical effects on your body. Crazy.
I imagine people are feeling physical effects when they go see the show live. What can people expect from the live show?
Yeah, I mean, not only is it this amazing music and beautiful music and the visuals and everything is completely synchronized. So it's, not only is it the greatest video game music of all time played by a full symphony and choir, but everything's completely synchronized to massive video screens and a stage show production and interactive elements with the crowd and special effects. And the interactivity is something that's really unique, I think, to our show. I mean, we literally have segments where I'll pick somebody out of the audience to come up on stage, and they'll play a video game in real time on the screen while the orchestra is changing the music in real time on the fly, depending on what the person is doing on stage. So we have a lot of cool things where we'll use interactive texting. So we let the audience decide what songs they want to hear in the show, and we just throw up the texting number, and it's a live bar, a live interactive bar going on. So you can see how well your game is doing, and so you can keep texting and see the bars move. So it's like the audience is playing a game within the show.
So they're selecting some of the music in the show?
Live, during the show, they're selecting the music.
That's a whole new approach to a concert experience.
It's crazy, it's crazy. I mean, we even I'll do crazy stuff where I'll come on stage during the show and I'll take a picture of the audience and I'll put it up on our Facebook page and tell everyone to tag themselves during the show, and then we'll pick somebody who tagged themselves and we'll pick them to come up on stage and play a game. And so it's all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Yeah, why not? It's the video game industry.
Now, one thing that's really fun for some of the people is to actually meet the performers in the show.
Yeah.
What can people who go to the meet and greet expect?
Yeah, so this is great because the show in Montreal is one of our special shows, and we play about 40, 50 shows a year, and certain shows we have huge meet and greets for. Montreal is one of them because it is such a hotbed of game design. So with Ubisoft and Electronic Arts and so many more. So some of the greatest game designers of our time are based out of Montreal. And not only game designers, but artists and programmers and producers. And so what we're doing is we're putting together a massive meet and greet for the Montreal show, where I'm getting a lot of my high-profile friends from the video game industry who've worked on some of the biggest selling games of all time. And so we're going to have a special meet and greet, just for the PBS audiences. And it's totally like it's a laid-back thing. It's not a line where people stand in line and you get 12 seconds with somebody and then you move on.
I just did that with Olivia Newton-John.
You did that? Okay. And there's, oh my God, it's and then you're just you're done right in a second. We hang out. We want to hang out with folks. We want it to be a Q&A kind of one-on-one experience with everybody in the room. So we bring people in a room and the performers, and we all come around and just talk to folks. But it's going to be a who's who of game design and game creators for the area as well. So some amazing games have been made in Montreal: Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, one of my original games. So a lot of those folks who worked on those games will be there as part of it. And what a great way to introduce somebody to the video game industry as well, by meeting the people who create a game. If you're kids, we always say, you know, growing up and as parents and things, you always want your children to do something they love. You love nothing else in their career, you know, their career choice. You always tell people, do something you love, because if you can get paid for something you love doing, it doesn't seem like work, right? I'm a good example. Video games, music. Oh my gosh, I do this for a living and people pay me for it? Don't tell anyone I do it for free. But, you know, and so taking your kids to something like a meet and greet and seeing if your kids love video games, let me tell you something, like you alluded to before, video game industry is the biggest entertainment industry right now. And, you know, game maker, game designers, a programmer, artists, even people in like PR or marketing or you know, I mean, there's so many different facets of video, writers, artists, designers, musicians, you know, and so what a great way to get your, you know, if your kid's thinking about going in the video game industry someday, to meet the people who are making the games and have face-to-face, one-on-one time is pretty special.
Yeah, it sounds like the people in Montreal are very lucky.
Yeah, well, it is true, because we only do about 2 or 3 of these types of shows a year, you know, and there's not too many places. There's San Francisco, there's LA, and there's Montreal and maybe London, where, you know, there's this many hotbed of famous game makers, and Montreal is one of them.
Now at the live show, people are going to experience that contest winner from Guitar Hero coming up on the stage. How do you enjoy playing the guitar with that contest winner?
Oh, it's great, because, you know, the Guitar Hero contest winner literally becomes a guitar hero for 5 minutes or whatever it is. What we do is we set a score that's a challenging score, and we say, if you beat this score, you have to come up on stage and play the game. The orchestra and myself are going to play along with you, but you have to score a certain amount of points. And if they do that, they win a big prize. And so if you can imagine now, the whole audience now is behind this person. And you know, the more and the closer and closer that they get to the score, the audience and the energy level just gets higher and higher. Here's somebody who is just sitting next to me in the audience, now they're on stage, and we're cheering for them. And the people who win the contest are really amazing. So, and to see their skills on stage and their fingers going like crazy, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like you're watching, like, you know, something that you've never seen somebody play with the speed and the accuracy before, and they're scoring amazing points. So it's something special that again, even in the PBS special, we had this little 9-year-old kid, and he had long red hair, and he was the winner of the contest, and he came out, and again, he does it right towards the end, and the audience goes nuts, and it's just we were so thankfully he won the game, because that would have not been too cool on the PBS. Oh, you lost, sorry. But, you know, so
he did really well.
He did amazing, and it was so great to have him be a part of it.
So you produced the recorded show just for PBS.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important that the viewers watching now call and make their pledge of support of this program?
Yeah, you know, it's something that's so different and so unique, and it's something that you can really, you know, there's not a lot of shows out there that are for the entire family, that everybody is going to get something out of, you know. And PBS, again, you know, they've been around for so long. I grew up on PBS. I was introduced to symphonic music through PBS when I was growing up, right? It's true, PBS and Warner Brothers cartoons, you know, was where I got all my classical music from, you know, and so much so that I turned into a video game composer myself. And so I just think it's so important in this day and age, especially, that, you know, that stations like PBS are around and there, and they're part of the family. It was part of my life growing up. Sesame Street and Electric Company, you know, were 2 big parts of my education growing up. And again, getting introduced to music through PBS as well eventually turned me into a composer myself. And so, you know, there's not a lot of stations out there that are doing what PBS does. It's just not out there, you know. And what a fantastic way to give back to your community, and by supporting our show, you know, going out and getting your kids involved in something that is, you know, fantastic. Look, for any mom out there, you are going to be the coolest mom on the block if you say to your kids, you know what? We're going to, I'm going to take you to a video game concert tonight, and you're going to get some art and culture, and everybody wins. Everybody wins.
And the prestige of video games continues to rise to the level of an art form. There's actually an exhibition at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. about video games, the art of video games.
It's unbelievable.
Are you involved in that exhibition?
Yeah, in fact, I'm part of the exhibit. And they launched that a few months ago, and it was the biggest opening that the Smithsonian ever had. Can you believe this?
That's impressive.
22,000 people over the weekend, all coming to see an exhibit at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. And it's a beautiful display that goes through the history of video games. And yeah, I was very honored and fortunate to be a part of the exhibit. And we flew out there for the opening, and it was incredible. I mean, it's really, again, to see, this is how far it's come. So video games have won a Grammy Award. Now we're in the Smithsonian Institute. We're in the Guinness Book of World Records. What's next? What's left?
Yeah, where are they headed?
Well, I think that, again, I've been in the game industry for a couple decades now. And I think where we're headed is more and more storyline and characters. Just what happened to the film industry. Deeper stories, deeper character, deeper plot developments, things like that. And some of the biggest selling games of our time are the ones that have these intense storylines and character developments and things, like that. And I think there's so much more room for that. People are now, they're starting to there's a couple games out there where people are crying. Oh my gosh, which is, in a film, that's not something that's out of the ordinary. But in a video game, it is, and I think needs to be, you're going to see more story and character development.
And there's also video games where you're not even competing on any level. You're just enjoying yourself.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
There's art video games.
And with social media now, where everybody has a cell phone or on Facebook, those games are, the mobile gaming. I mean, it's everywhere now, and there's so many different ways. That's the fun and exciting thing, is that the technology is changing so rapidly that it's hard to say what are video games going to be like in 5 years from now. Who would have predicted that people would have been playing games on Facebook? And who even predicted a Facebook, right? So with mobile gaming now and what you can do, and with the GPS systems being built into your phone, I mean, imagine some of the stuff that you're going to be able to accomplish by interacting with the devices that you carry around with you. Wow. I mean, how exciting is it going to be 10 years from now? Oh my gosh, it's going to be crazy. So the technology is changing so rapidly that we're really excited about what the future brings. And that's why we need the young people to get into the industry, to say, what a fantastic industry to get into and to help mold and change for the future. This is so important that there are even now colleges all over North America have video game design courses, and they're credited courses that people are getting, video games and even music in some areas too. I teach in schools all over the country, teaching video game music, composition. And so, but people can now get their degrees in video game design and art and things like that. It's fantastic. I wish there was a place like that when we were growing up, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I would have signed up day one for that.
That's a sign of the times, the video game music composition in schools. That's incredible.
It's fantastic. And Video Games Live, I've donated, I do a lot of the arrangements for the program and for the show. And I've donated a lot of the arrangements to Alfred Publishing so that they can make them available to all the schools. So if you go on YouTube and put in, video games plus halftime, for example, all the bands are, they're not playing the classics anymore. They're playing the music to Halo and Sonic the Hedgehog and Tetris and Mario now during like halftime shows, and these schools are putting on these productions using our scores. And again, that's a big goal for me, was to, you know, I wanted to spread it to everybody, and getting in the schools, getting on programs like PBS, showing people who might not normally think about video games and video game music, and now to have it here on PBS, you know, for maybe the mom and pops who don't play games, or maybe they used to a long time ago, and to see where it's all come now is like, wow, that's a really incredible thing for everybody, you know. And thank you for PBS for supporting that.
It's our pleasure, really. And you're a very excited person, and we can see that excitement on stage when you're playing in the program and when you're going to be playing live in Montreal. And you're an incredible spokesperson for video games. What do you think of Mountain Lake PBS for being a venue for this program, Video Games Live?
I mean, I was so excited to get an email recently from your program directors and marketing folks here who had been to the show last year. They had been to the show and we had come to Montreal, and you know, they were honest. They said, you know, we didn't know what to expect. You know, we don't really play video games, but you know, we went to the show. We were invited to the show, and oh my gosh, it was one of the best shows we've ever seen. We couldn't believe it, and so to get that kind of email from people, I think it helps legitimize my mission and my goal. And to have it here, you know, with Mountain Lake and excited and being able, and so the first thing we said is, my gosh, Montreal is going to be one of our biggest and best shows. Let's partner on this, and let's put a special package together just for Mountain Lake that no one else gets offered, even in the United States and even on the other PBS channels. This is a special one. I mean, this is a special show, a special price, a special package that is offered literally nowhere else in the world. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here at Mountain Lake. This is the truth, and this is why I'm here in your studio right now, flying. I'm on tour right now. I flew out just to come and do this. I'm flying back on tour tonight. I wanted to make sure that people knew the importance of this and how special this is, thanks to you guys.
Hey, thanks for stopping by.
Awesome. No worries, man. Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun for all of us.
Honor.